Hello and welcome to Kirkby and Ashfield in Nottinghamshire and the new headquarters of the Romo Group. You join me here for a quick tour of the building where I'll tell you all of the things that are important to us and the client on a lovely day to show you the building. So you can see here the main entrance. The entrance experience was always really important to us. The siting of the building within the site, the landscape between the building and the boundaries. And as I said, this entrance experience, arriving by vehicle all the way up to the main entrance, was really, really key. Let's go and take a look inside. Okay, you join me here at the main entrance. You've been swept away from the building. You've had a few looks over your shoulder at the building as it's been revealing yourself through the trees and the landscape. But as you turn this corner, you're presented with the main entrance of the building. Natural wayfinding signpost at the entrance. You've got a large open plaza in front of it, the entrance canopy, staff parking off to the left, and visitor parking off to the right. Let's go and take a closer look at the entrance. So we're now standing right in the centre of this large entrance plaza that we've seen from the top of the road. It's generous and open, it's not cluttered, it's designed to signpost the entrance naturally. So immediately when you arrive at the end of the road, you know where the main entrance to the building is. It's framed on either side with the beautiful landscaping, the silver birch trees and the varied planting either side. And there's a couple of seats outside for days like this where you might want to just take the load off and just pause before you enter the building. So now you join me to have a little bit of a closer look at some of these beautiful materials. We've got beautiful handmade bricks here by Peterson. We've got a lovely cast in situ concrete canopy. And then above me, a lovely, beautiful stucco facade in anodized aluminium, which is dazzling in the sun today. So this is the main entrance. The entrance is set up to have a reflection pool either side of it. Centrally, you've got this constriction of space taking you right into the heart of reception, and it's framed by this huge concrete canopy with an almost unbelievable span. But there's some steelwork hidden in the depth of that concrete to make that possible. Mention the reflection pools. Let's go and have a closer look at them. So we're here just having a look at these beautiful reflection pools either side of the main entrance. This lovely concrete reflecting in the pool, the light bouncing off the pool, the noise of the water, this concrete running all the way inside. These are a really nice trick either side of the entrance to just bring all of these materials and spaces to life. So we've looked at the building from the outside for long enough. Let's go and have a look inside. As I mentioned, there's this restriction of space going through the entrance in this draft lobby. Automatic doors let you into the lobby. And then the secure line is this second set of doors. And as we pass through the reception entrance, this constriction of space is holding back the experience of the atrium. That's further held back as you arrive into the main reception area and what will be a fantastic show space or showroom for all of the latest collections of the fabric and products. So we're in reception. We've got traditional reception desk, waiting area. There's a visitor suite behind us with meeting rooms, visitor toilets and a small kitchenette. As we said, this is the show space. It's got a real art gallery feel. Let's go and have a look at the atrium and go up this showcase staircase. So let's leave the show space, go up to the first floor through this staircase and have a look at the atrium, which is teased through this view. Again, it's another constriction of space, which exaggerates the openness when you get to the other end. Got these monolithic structural concrete walls. All the structural frame on this side of the building is exposed. And there's lots of early coordination between us and BSP, the engineers, to coordinate all the lines and details that you can see in this concrete. For example, this recess above me here and to my left, that looks relatively random in the middle of a staircase, but runs all around the building at each level and is a datum which lines through with the top of skirting board. So traditional timber skirting boards are lined through with a recess in structural concrete. When we get to the top of the stairs, you now get the big reveal, what you've all been waiting for, the view of the atrium. So standing in the middle of the atrium, you can really get an appreciation for how this building is set up. In the distance, you can see the showcase and the reception where we enter the building. They lead you into the atrium. On the left-hand side, we've got offices and design studios. And on the right-hand side, we've got the warehouse spaces. And behind you and below you, we've got a cafe and refectory area, which we'll see later. So we've already explained how the building is set up. Central atrium, workplace and offices off to my left. On the top floor, there's the design studios, and that's what we're going to take a look at now. Pass through the entrance to the studios, signposted by the timber, as I'll talk about a little bit later on. But let's have a look inside one of the studios in a bit more detail. So once you're inside the studios, the first thing you notice is the completely different feeling due to the natural light. There's a huge amount of natural daylight, indirect light from the large north lights, and much less from the facade. That's intentional. The natural indirect light is what's really needed in a design studio, and this is an absolutely beautiful place to work. So this space here is an example of one of the wet creative areas incorporated into each studio. You can see some painting going on. The brief for these spaces were spaces where you're allowed to be really messy, and I just wonder how long it'll take them after moving into such a brand new building to become truly messy and creative. So here in one of the other studios, I've mentioned how different they feel because of the daylight, but there's lots of things that are similar to the floors below. Well, again, we've got the expressed concrete frame. We've got the linear light fittings, and we've got the same detailing on this spine accommodation of the shadow gaps and the timber. In the distance, you can see a trick. The wall almost goes up to the soffit, but doesn't quite. It hides a lot of mess and a lot of storage, drying racks for paintings, storage of fabric rolls, storage of art media and things like that, but it's a real trick. So now we pass through into the third and final studio. Not spoken about it yet, but Romo are designers at heart. All of the creativity is what's behind the fantastic furnishings and fabric that they produce, and that's why the brief for these studios was so extravagant. It really is the heart of the business and the creativity, and what a fantastic, inspirational place to work. The central atrium staircase was a real joy to design. It cantilevers off this huge concrete sheer wall, hangs in space, and has got this beautiful raw steel balustrade. Really, really enjoyable to use, and everybody in the business uses these staircases to circulate. And what an effect it creates in this atrium. So here we are on the ground floor offices. Slightly different facade treatment here because you're not within the curtain walling. You've got floor-to-ceiling glass, so you've got beautiful views of the landscape out there and that horizon that's been created by the land rising up a little bit away from the building. Same light fittings that we've got on the other floors, the same downstand beams, the same structural concrete soffits with fully coordinated services at each junction of the shuttering. Running on the other side of the offices here, you've got a central accommodation, spine accommodation of all the cellular spaces and practical uses, meeting rooms, printing rooms, a toilet block that we've just passed by. All of that being hidden away allows for a service run above it of all the mechanical and electrical service runs and equipment. It's all hidden away, giving these lovely free open soffits. As a counterpoint to the atrium and the extravagance of those spaces, we wanted these north and south staircases to feel relatively stark. You can tell from the audio in here how much of a different space it is. We've still got the mild steel balustrades, but you've got exposed concrete walls, very minimal lighting, which gives a very different feel to anywhere else in the building, which I think is really successful. So we've seen the lovely anodised aluminium Schuko curtain walling of the offices, but I just wanted to show you this screen above the main entrance, which is a little bit special. It's a structural steel curtain walling system by Novum Structures, and as such it requires no secondary support whatsoever, so it stands completely independently, spanning over 14 metres wide and 18 metres tall. Coming out of the offices, you can see something that was really key to the brief right from day one, and how connected all of the different uses and areas of the building are. The business previously operated across 4 different spaces. They're all brought together in this new facility, and you can see directly into the warehouses from the office and directly back from the warehouse back into the office. So a huge amenity to the building is this cafe area at the end of the atrium, which you can see in the distance. It's a huge step on from where they were in the previous facility, with full catering facilities, full servery, catering kitchen behind the wall, and this lovely view out to this courtyard that you can see behind me here. It was really important to both the client and us at Maber to bed the building into a beautiful landscape. The client wanted an amenity to be able to get out during the summer months and winter months, walk around the landscape and have a bit of exercise while still within the site. You can see here the variety that we've got. We've got wildflower meadow planting over here, a less formal lawn in the middle here to walk around, and then over here to my left, you can see a much more formal lawn on an elevated level, all punctuated with little places where you can just stop, have a break, make a phone call, coffee, or eat your lunch. One device that I think was really successful in the scheme is the slip plane between the heavy masonry base and the handmade bricks and the refined anodised aluminium facade. You can see the huge cantilever at the front of the building, which amounts to about 5.5 metres, and that's slipped over the bottom plane of the masonry. If you turn to look at the other end of the building, you can see the nod to that, with the top floors of the offices pulled back and those hand-made masonry bricks extending into an archway into the landscape, creating that slip plane between the top and the bottom. That trick creates a fantastic feeling and a tension of space at the main entrance with that huge overhang. Structurally, I mentioned it's 5.5 metres, but it's 4.5 metres externally, so it creates a fantastic feeling under that huge cantilever at the front of the building adjacent to the main entrance. So we've seen the offices and the atrium, and now we're going to have a look at the warehouse. And as we walk down, you can see this is not your average warehouse. The lovely large glazed screens here, which relate to workspace inside, and the slit windows above that go all the way to the parapet of the warehouse. It really is a high quality workspace. So we've seen inside the offices, we've seen inside the atrium, and we're now moving further down the building to look inside the warehouse. So you join me at the warehouse entrance, very much not a tradesman's entrance. It's a key part of the brief to have parity in all workplaces in the building, whether they be in the warehouse, the atrium, or the design studios. So again, you have a lovely concrete canopy, akin to the one at the main entrance. Again, you have this constriction of space through the entrance into the warehouse, which, as I've already said, is a lovely workplace. Let's go inside and see the quality of the space in there. Here we are, in the warehouse. So standing on the mezzanine in the warehouse next to this fantastic light well, you can see the workplaces below and the light assembly that's going on. And natural light is as important here as it was in the high quality design studios and the office side. You can see the product, it has to be seen to true colour, it has to be QA'd here. The sample books that get sent out to allow people to choose their fabrics are manufactured here. So it seems an extravagance, but it's a really important part of the brief and creates this fantastic workplace. You can also see behind me, start to glimpse at the automation. You've got this high-level conveyor system here, lots of empty rolls at the bottom which will eventually contain fabric, and in the distance beyond that back wall is the black box of the magic automated warehouse. So we've seen the high quality staircases in the office block. Similar attention to detail in the warehouses here. Even though this is a relatively back-of-house staircase, it forms part of the visitor route. So you've still got high-quality balustrade finishes, high-quality finish on the precast concrete stairs. And we continue all the way up the top of the stair through this door, taking us onto a gantry, which leads us into the automated warehouse. So from here we can see the heart of the facility and all of the automation. In the distance against this back wall, you can see the trays being deposited out. Individual rolls of fabric are then put on these conveyors, which delivers them to cutting tables. Sections of fabric are taken off, the master roll goes back, and the section goes on another conveyor, which gets taken to goods out and gets dispatched all around the world. So we're now going to pass through this wall into the black box and the real heart of this facility. There's over 20,000 trays within this black box, each containing up to 8 rolls of fabric. That's a lot of fabric. It's where it's all stored intelligently and delivered out here for cutting and dispatch. Let's go and have a look. Another huge driver of this project, aside from bringing together all of the disparate uses within the business, was efficiency. This warehouse and this whole room here is all about efficiency. All of this fabric being stored on all of these trays, collected by the automated cranes, brought back and delivered to the people that cut them. It's all about speed and efficiency. It was all judged on deliveries per hour, how many rolls could be delivered out and sent back for storage within an hour. And they've seen a huge increase in efficiency, which means they can get more fabric out of the factory per hour and per day. The design team was responsible for coordinating all of this automation into this element of the warehouse. All the sprinkler design, all the racking, all these automated cranes, all had to fit within a very, very strict envelope to maximise the amount of space that was used. Thanks for joining me, showing you around this fantastic facility. I hope you've enjoyed seeing it. I've certainly enjoyed showing you it. Join us again to see one of our other completed buildings.